Hi everyone and welcome to Epic E-Bikes. We are super excited to bring you tonight the EP8 installation that we've been talking about. You can see on the table we've got every little piece that we need. We've got the 3 adapters to go from the thick cable to the new thin cable, 2 different lengths of the thin cables, the 2 drive unit covers, and the new computer and the new ergonomic switch that lets you go from Eco, Trail and Boost. And we've also got in this box the new XT cranks, 165mm. We've got the new lock ring tool from Shimano, and in here, the prized possession, the most exciting thing, is our brand new EP8 that's going to go into our 2019 Merida E160 900E.
Okay, first thing we've got to do is we've got to take off this crank arm. To do that, we're going to loosen these Allen keys here first. Okay, now they're loose, we're going to get this special little plastic tool. We're going to remove this dust cap. If you don't loosen those Allen keys first, it can be really tight and you're not going to get it open with the plastic tool. Once the dust cap's removed, we'll continue to loosen these off so we can pull off the crank arm. This is pretty loose already. It's going to need a bit more. Okay, crank arm is off. Next we've got to remove this lock ring with the Shimano lock ring tool. In a bottom bracket tool, you want a good quality one so you can get some leverage. You need to leave the chain on because you need to turn it clockwise, and the chain helps you to stop this rotating so that you can apply the force you need, and it's a lot easier if you put it on the ground. So we've loosened it off on the ground and we've just got it here. Now to finish off, okay, so we've got the lock ring and a little bushing. Now we've got the lock ring removed, we need to take off our chain guide so we can take off the chain ring. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to take off the 3 motor bolts on this side. This one, and this one. So we can get this motor bolt out all the way, we're going to take off the chain guide holder. Now we'll remove the last bolt. We're almost there now, we'll turn around and go from the other side to finish off. Okay, first step on this side is we're going to remove the plastic drive unit cover here. There's 3 Phillips head screws. Okay, and then we're going to remove these 2 front motor bolts. Just going to leave this one in while I loosen this one off. Now you've got to hold underneath the motor as you remove this one. Once it's removed, the motor will swing down, hang off that last bolt. We can remove the cables and then undo that last bolt. Okay, at this point we're going to disconnect the battery from the e-bike. Now we're going to remove these plugs. The motor plug, you pull this outside ring up and wiggle the connector. Okay, you want to put your hand under the motor at this stage because sometimes these cables are actually holding it up. You want to pop these off. You get this tool that'll come with your bike most times, otherwise you can order it. It's a TLEW02. Makes it really easy to pop these connectors out. Okay, now all the cables are removed. We're just going to remove the motor by holding onto it and undoing the final bolt. Now your E8000 is removed. We can get ready to install the EP8. Okay, next step we're going to remove the old display computer and switches. Just need a 3mm Allen key for these. Next we'll have to remove the grip to slide this off the bars. Okay. Now we'll unplug the cable from the display. Okay, the old switch is removed. Now we'll remove the cables from the display. The old display is removed. We'll leave this here, our TI2 adjuster. Okay, now we've got our new display cable. We're going to put it into the adapter so we can plug it into the old display cable at the motor. And then we're going to undo this T10 Torx here that holds the cable feeding part in. Okay, now before we pull it through, we're going to connect our new cable to the bottom so it pulls our new cable through. Okay, next step we're going to get our longest cable here. Then we're going to get our adapter. Clip it onto the old display cable. And then we're going to pull the old display cable through so we can get our new cable through the frame. Okay, next step's to get this part that holds the cable, and we're going to undo it to get the old cable out. Then we're going to put the new cable in. Now that that's removed, we're going to put the new cable through. Tighten it back up. Okay, now that we've got the new cable in, we've sized it up, it's long enough. I'm going to put a cable tie around the back. Okay, and the purpose of this cable tie is so when we put the frame piece in here, we don't lose it. And we can pull on the cord and it holds it in place, like that. Then we can put our retaining screw in. Okay, next we're going to put on our new display. It comes with two sizes of adapters to fit the handlebar. We're going to need the larger one. So to do that, we're going to undo this 2.5mm Allen key. Once that Allen key is undone, you can unclip the old one, or the smaller one. Clip in the larger one. Replace the Allen key. Then we can mount it on the handlebars. Alright, now we've got the display, we're just tightening that on. Next we'll plug in this cable. Zoom up and show you, it's pretty simple. Okay, so next we plug the display in. It's this very small hole. Till you hear a nice click. And then we're going to plug in and put on the mode control buttons next. Next we're going to get our ergonomic switch here. We've got our new cable, new switch. Plug it in till you hear that nice click. Slide it along the bars, tighten it up like that. And then we'll run our cable, plug it into the back of the display, the same as the other one. Okay, now we've tightened this on, we've done some cable managing of that cable. Now we're going to get an adapter onto the Di2 switch. If your bike has the Di2, you'll need to do this. And then a tiny little extension. We plug this into the back of the display as well. And then we'll tidy up this cable. All the cables up here are done, we can move on to the motor next. Okay, now it's time to put the EP8 in. So we're going to put it in like this. Screw in one of the bolts. Do the same on the other side. Okay, now we'll turn the bike around so you can see where the cables connect. Okay, now we're going to adapt these cables. We've got one from the Di2, which is just a standard adaptable go on. And then we've got a little extension to go to the motor. The other one's from the speed sensor. This has a little tab on it that keys into the... So there's two options for this. You either buy a new speed sensor, run that end that has the right end to go into the E8000, or you can carefully cut that tab off and use a standard adapter. And then another extension to go into the motor. This is the shortest extension they had available at the time, so we've got to just tuck it up in the frame, that extra length. So the speed sensor connector goes into the hole with the tabs, the round holes for the other connections. Display in the front and the Di2 in the middle. This is where this tool comes in handy. It's quite hard, especially the new EP8 has even tinier cables than the E8000. You can use this tool to push them down and get that good click. And next is the motor power. This is the same as the other Shimano. It's got an arrow on it. And on the motor, you line that arrow up with a little pointed arrow on the motor. Just push it down like that. Now all our cables are in. Just got to tuck them into the frame and bolt up the motor. Alright, now we're just going to tuck away the cables and put the motor in. So we'll tuck the display one up in the frame. Okay, now I've tucked the cables in, we're just going to put the motor up. Just keep the cables in front of these bolts. Okay, now we can put a motor bolt in the front. Bolt in the middle. Then we'll put our bolts in the other side as well. Next we'll put our plastic covers on and tighten up those motor bolts. Okay, next we're going to put the little cover on that goes here. You need to be mindful when you order this from Shimano, it doesn't come with screws. When you order the EP8, it doesn't come with the screws, so you'll need to source the little screws. Or you can use the E8000 ones, but then your E8000 will be missing those screws. Okay, before moving on to the other side, we'll do the final step. On this side we'll put on our new crank. Now they are oriented for sides, so this is the left side, we're going to put it on the left obviously. The spline does have a bigger key piece that you've got to line up. Okay, once that's lined up, put our dust cover in. This dust cover is plastic, so it only needs to be just nipped to the tiniest bit because you don't want to be able to not get it off again. And then we can tighten up crank arm. And you just got to install a pedal in that crank arm, and that side's finished. Next step, we're going to put on the bash guard. This is just 3 screws. One in the front of the motor. And one on either side at the back. Okay, almost finished now. Put our chain guide. You may be able to see the marks from where you had it previously installed, which will help you get it the right spot. Next for the chain ring. The lock ring and the bush. Okay, now we'll put our chain on. Put our chain guide on as well. And we'll put the bike on the ground to tighten up this lock ring. Okay, we've put the chain ring on and the chain, and as you can see, if we're trying to tighten it, the chain's not going to help us this time. But if we hold on to the opposite crank arm that we put on earlier, that will stop it rotating and allow us to tighten it up. Okay, the E8000 had a little bushing on the spindle here. I'm not going to put that on because the crank arm doesn't sit flush with that on. So you just got to line this up, slide it all the way on. You can check it's not going to hit anything. In case you need the bushing, in our case it's not going to hit anything, so we're going to leave it up. You just put our dust cap on, just a tiny little bit of torque when you tighten it up. You don't want to put it on hard because you'll never get it off again, just being made of plastic. And then we'll tighten up crank arm Allen key bolts. Just tighten one side and then tighten the other until they're both tight. Okay, now we'll put our pedals on. Now we're ready to take it for a ride and test it out.
Okay, here we are, we're all finished. We are super excited. We're now going to turn it on for the very first time. Here we go. Ready? I'm going to press that button. We've heard the little beep. And let's just try our mode button. Eco, Trail, Boost. Now that mode button, that just feels so much better than the previous generation. They've done a really nice job on not only the ergonomics, but the actual feel when you press that through. Now, over on the other side of the handlebars, we've got our Di2. Let's just give that a try. There goes the gears. Oh wow, now that's super exciting. There it is. Let's just move the pedals back. Come around to the other side. We are super excited. We are all finished. The motor is now installed. We are looking forward to testing this on our local trails and on the hill climb where we have reviewed all the other motors. Please, if you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe, and we're going to bring some more content all about this EP8 and how it compares to our E8000 standard and tuned, and the new Rocky Mountain that we're about to share with you in an upcoming video.